Joining me now, the Common Sense Society executive editor, Christopher Bedford. Christopher, good morning. Your initial first reaction to this fourth indictment of the former president?
I kind of agree that it is a bit of the kitchen sink. I mean, when you look at RICO, this is the kind of law that the United States has used to take down organized crime in the past. And they're trying to use it against a former president and a current leading political challenger to Joe Biden. 19 different people indicted, just like she mentioned. People who made phone calls. The indictment starts off with the idea that Donald Trump lost the state of Georgia and thought and knew that, but still tried to overturn it. Now that alone is going to be a very difficult thing to prove, and that's kind of the basis of a lot of what's being thrown at Donald Trump in these four different indictments he's under. I think there's a real hope from a lot of these folks, these prosecutors who are trying to get famous on the state level and even on the federal level, that if they just keep up the lawfare, they keep on stacking up legal fees and perp walks and all this kind of stuff, that they'll be able to sink the candidacy of Donald Trump. And so far, much to the consternation of so many of the observers, he's been consistently rising in the polls because of this. Even those people who do think that President Trump did something wrong after the election and acted inappropriately still think it's been the law has been politicized against him. And that's a very ugly look for the American justice system. Well,
and my colleague Todd Pyro is on set with us today in New York, and he made the point earlier that the plan here is you charge multiple people, 19 people in total for this indictment, and then you see who's going to flip.
That's generally the way they do it. They do that with organized crime. They do that with petty crime, and they're trying to do that in the president right now. The president going to have to pay a lot of different legal fees and legal bills in order to keep people loyal. And this is something they've been trying to do for a long time, racking up millions of dollars on legal fees on Trump allies in the hopes that they can flip them, maybe get some immunity. That's the kind of strong arm tactics they're doing. And we saw this indictment even leaked earlier, before the grand jury was finished with its testimony earlier in the day, and before it was taken down on the website. That shows a DA who's really determined, really ahead of the game, and someone who's already decided the outcome of this before that even started.
Todd, get in here, because I'm glad that Christopher's bringing this up, because that's what bothered me about this, because this was in the noon hour yesterday, and these headlines are crossing from the court's website. And then last night, she comes out and says, oh, those were false. Well, they weren't. Those were the charges. So they were already up there when they were still interviewing two witnesses.
Yeah, I think Brian Yanis asked some really good questions about that, saying, like, how did this happen, right?
Right.
So, Christopher, either one of two things. Either she has no idea how the clerk's office works as the DA of Fulton County, or it's purely coincidence that the charges were posted well before the grand jury had concluded their testimony. An innocent mistake, I guess. Which one is it, and are you buying any of it?
I think it's the latter, and I think this is an investigation that's been going on for 2.5 years. We've been talking about this, but any casual observer of what had been going on in D.C. for the previous 4 years before that could have told you that over the next couple of years, if Donald Trump doesn't go to another country, he's going to face lawfare from all corners of the United States. You had attorneys who were running on this in New York. You had people promising this in Washington, D.C. Everyone said, we're coming for you, former President Donald Trump. We're going to get you. We don't care if we double down on our charges. We don't care if we try to legally relitigate the failed impeachment efforts. We're going to come after you. And I don't think it's had the effect that they would like. It's obviously cost the president a lot of money. It sapped some of his campaign reserves for sure, but it hasn't hit his popularity because it's so thoroughly see-through.
I also want to ask you about this. The White House claiming yesterday that there's no evidence that President Biden was involved in Hunter's foreign business dealings. I want to watch this.
If you think about what Republicans in Congress have tried to do for years, right, they have been making claims and allegations, right, about President on this front. And what's been the result of that, if you ask yourself what we have seen from that, they keep turning up documents and witnesses showing that the president wasn't involved, never discussed these business dealings, and did nothing wrong. There's been zero evidence showing otherwise.
Christopher, I'm not so sure that's correct, but your reaction.
That's not correct at all. It's a bald-faced lie. The president has now been tied by multiple witnesses, including the only one that the FBI ever actually interviewed, Hunter Biden's former business partner, to meetings that were involved with Hunter and with his business partners, where Hunter would say, listen, Dad, I need you to come in and talk to these people I'm trying to do business with. He would show up at a meeting. We have at least 2 known cases of this with foreign oligarchs that have happened where money changed hands shortly afterwards. The White House's story has changed from never discussed business to never actually benefited or was involved in the businesses to now can you prove that there's a video somewhere of Joe Biden accepting cash, essentially. An interesting thing to this whole dance is never at any time has the White House said, well, Hunter didn't do anything wrong, or Hunter had these skills, or the Biden family actually is doing legitimate business. They've completely dispensed with that, just tried to insulate the president. But the more whistleblowers we have coming forward, the more actual interviews that are being done by Congress now, because the DOJ stonewalled it for so long, the more we learn there's actual direct evidence linking the president to these business dealings.
Yeah, well, and even the Washington Post is now saying maybe the president's conduct, President Biden's conduct, wasn't exactly perfect in all of this. Christopher Bedford, it's good to see you.
Not exactly perfect.
Not exactly. Christopher, it's good to see you. Thank you.